Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Tips with Miss Guy. I'm really happy to be here this evening to share these tips with all of you. I'm waiting for my students to come in, so I'm looking for the students, parents, teachers, and any aunties and uncles on. You can just tag, your nieces, your nephews, anybody that you know is about to do any sort of an exam, whether it be SEA, CXC, in terms of CSEC and CAPE, then you are in the right place this evening. So even as you come in, just say hello, and I can acknowledge you in the comments. But this evening, we're going to definitely be speaking about study tips. Here at Scholars Immaculate Academy, we have launched a new initiative for this exam period. So we know that SEA prep is on next month, right? And we know that CSEC examination begins at the end of April through May and June. So this is our initiative that we would have started in order to help students in the study season. All right, so it's not just the podcast, but if you follow the page, whether on Facebook, whether on Instagram, and recently I launched a TikTok page. So yes, Miss Guy is on TikTok, and I will be making short videos and tips that will help throughout this exam period. All right, specifically because I am more on the science side of things. For CSEC and CAPE, I'll be focusing on biology and HSB. And for the sake of time, yes, I can do other subjects, but those are what I'm really focusing on for this year. And then I will also be giving SEA tips all the way towards the end. So I know there are parents here tonight that are connected to SEA, and I know that my students will come on for CSEC and CAPE. So I believe the tips that we are going to give tonight are going to apply to both, but I'm going to give specific tips for each of them. All right. I want to say to parents that, especially for SEA, we are almost 1 month in, right? Or less than 1 month to the exam. And I want to say to you all that, yes, I know you all are anxious. Some of you have your preferences as to where you want the children to go, and the children themselves have preferences as to where they want to go. But I want to say to you all at this stage, 1 month to the exam, we want to ensure that we provide an environment that is conducive for them at this stage. Parents, I want to speak to you heart to heart right now. I want to say to you all not to pressure them. I know that you want the best for them, but at this stage, we want to ensure that they are not, receiving extra pressure over what they are already under. Some of them, they might not know how to vocalize how they feel, but speaking to them all the time, you will hear, Mrs. A lot, I'm going through plenty, so much things that we have to go through. So we don't want to create that environment of tension, of anxiety. We don't want to push that frame. We want to ensure that whatever environment that we are promoting is conducive for our children to have what the best 1 month to the exam as possible. Right? If you agree with me, just say yes in the chat. Right? At this stage, I will say to parents, do not force the children to learn new content, that they have not learned before, because introducing new content at this stage run them the risk of not being able to absorb or even retain what they already know. So I will say 1 month to the exam, you should be concrete in the things that they already know and not really adding new concepts. All right, we want to ensure that yes, they know something, make sure they know that thing well. All right, do not add a whole heap of new content because maybe somebody tell you that they think they should look at this and look at that and look at this and look at that. No, use this 1 month to concrete what they already know. Work on time, right? So you'll give them questions with time. You will work on focus, right? And give them questions, watch how they are focusing. I will say to the children all the time, this is a constant thing that we notice with students, especially under exam conditions. Yes, you're going to be nervous, right? But just know that you're going to see all the children you went to school with. So just ensure that you're comfortable in your classroom. You already know how they look. So in the exam, you don't need to be looking around, gazing to see who is who, what who is doing. If somebody's pencil fall, you don't even have to, the child don't even have to look at that. So I always say to my students, you are going into this exam, it's going to be you and a sheet of paper. Ensure you focus on that. So ensure that you are teaching them focus techniques, and also, as I said, working well with time. All right. At this stage, I will say to you as well, have them review timetables, right? For the math section, have them review timetables. Also have them to review when it comes to formulas, like for example, your formulas for area, your formulas for perimeter, your formulas for volume or capacity. Go through formulas for like discount, formulas for VAT. So go through the basic formulas that they will use to do calculations, right? Ensure you know how to use the formulas. And that's how I will say to you, prepare with them, do as much practice questions as possible, but do not rush new content, all right? When it comes to this year's exams gone by during the pandemic, the Ministry of Education, so we are speaking about SEA prep for now, for those that are now coming in, and then we're going to shift to CSEC and CXC, right? So in recent times for the SEA prep, because of the pandemic, they would have said what topic was coming for the ELA writing, right? The English Language Arts writing, right? But this year, because they consider us in a post-pandemic world, they have not released the topic that is going to come, whether it be report or narrative writing. So they have to ensure that they are prepared to do the both of them. All right. So when it comes to report writing, ensure they know the structure of a report, right? So it doesn't matter what topic they give them in a report. Once they follow that basic structure, they will do well in their report. If they give them the narrative paper, ensure they know how to structure it. All right, so we know the plot diagram. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but ensure they are doing their introduction, their rising action, their climax, falling action, and resolution. To ensure that they are doing at least one paragraph for each section of the essay. Right at this stage, I will say to you, revise with them their literary devices. All right, so that their similes, their metaphors, their personifications, their onomatopoeias, go through their literary devices, right? That's one narrative. Ensure that they can basically recall the structure, know their literary devices, and also learn to describe things based on their senses, right? So ensure they know how to use descriptive words that speaks to sight, to smell, to taste, to hearing. So at this stage, it's all about revision and not really addition, right? Go over what they already know, right? And I believe that once you put these short principles into practice, your child will do well. I want you all to stay tuned to Scholars Immaculate Academy. For the entire month of March, we're going to be dropping, short videos of things that they ought to remember, right? So stay tuned to the platform, whether on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and you will definitely see the content being dropped for SEA prep. So I'm just going to do some revision videos that's going to help them to remember some basic things that's going to give them the best possible shot at the examination, right? So I want to say to parents, as I said before, no pressure. They're going to go to the best school and whatever school they go to, they're gonna excel, right? So parents will tell them they don't go to this school, they won't excel. Tell them wherever they are planted, they are gonna flourish, right? So you build them up. You know, yes, they're under pressure. You know, some students might have said to me before that in school is so much pressure. Sometimes teachers get pressured, so pressured that they say things to students that are not the best. You know, so you have to ensure at home that you are giving them the positive motivation. You are telling them, yes, you are good enough. Yes, you're gonna progress. Yes, you're gonna prosper. Yes, you're gonna do well. You're gonna go and do your best. All right. When they are finished with the exam, don't super question them as well. So post-exam tips. When they finish the exam, don't ask them what was on the paper. If they think they did well, don't open back that book, go over anything, because at that point you can change the result that is already there. So ensure you let them enjoy how many months until results, right? So that's my SEA tips. As I said before, I'm going to drop summary videos from time to time for SEA prep that's going to help them to concrete some stuff, and any tip that I think that they need to remember, I will definitely make video content on that. So as I said, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All right, so that's SEA prep, you know, and I am thinking about doing a post SEA maths class. Given that some persons will indicate to me that yes, I think that they're gonna do well at the exam, but I want their minds to remain active between the exam and high school. So if I'm gonna do it, I will definitely drop that flyer on the platform. I'm thinking about how best I could bring it all together and, you know, facilitate that session, right? So stay glued. You're gonna see the flyer drop for that. Ensure you register. That's if we're doing it, right? But most likely we are. So just trying to find time slots to fit it all in, right? So that's that. So now we're gonna speak specifically to CSEC and CAPE. So at this stage at Scholars Immaculate Academy, we are offering tutoring in the areas of HSB, biology for biology unit 1, unit 2, and at the CSEC level. So we are all biology right now and HSB for now, with some maths tutorings and stuff in between. But our main focus at this stage is biology. But the tips I'm giving tonight for CSEC and CAPE can apply across the board. So if you know any CSEC students, CAPE students, you can tag them. These tips are going to help them. I work at a school and I see students every day. And one of the things, and I interact with fourth and fifth formers every single day. And one of the things that I noticed is that they are not studying, right? They may be not familiar with study methods. If I be honest, I really learned to study when I went to university. No one taught me study methods. So I have decided to do something like this because I believe that if somebody helped me before, you know, I would have done even better, right? So that's why I'm taking time off to do these study tips, right? I want to say to you all that are doing exam in May, June, right? If you have not started to study, what are you waiting on? This is the best time to start. If you have not started, don't beat up yourself. This is the right time to get right in there, right? So if we are at the end of February, you have March, April, May, right? And May is the first exam, and then you also have one in June. So you have like 2 months, 8 weeks to put in some good studying, right? And this can only be achieved if you decide first that you want this, right? I will tell you my testimony. When I was at CSEC level, I came to a stage where I said, you know what? You have to get your subjects and you have to do well in them. So you're going to push. So I did what was necessary for me at that time. So at that time, Delisha deactivated her social media account because at that stage, I realized that it was a major distraction for me. Now, if you are a student and you think that you could balance all of it and you don't have to delete it, well, that's it with you. But I'm saying that I had to get rid of all distractions in order for me to succeed, right? So you have to know what your goal is. What are you aiming for? I hear some students saying, Miss, I just want to pass. And I'm saying, did you go to school for all those years just to pass? At this stage, I want you to aim for your best, right? Not just to scrape through. Because most students over my years of teaching, whoever aimed just to pass, they don't pass. Yeah? But if they aim for their best, they get their best. Right? So that's the attitude you want to have at this stage and at this time. You want to aim for your absolute best. I want to say to you all that it's not too late to start, but it will take a lot of work and intentionality. Right? One of the methods I want to show you all tonight is that of many little things I want to show you, but I want to recommend the use of your past papers, right? The use of study notes, the use of, your textbooks and your study guides, right? So if you're a student here and you say, but Miss Guy, I don't have no past papers, you can shoot me a message and I could get all the possible past papers for you, and not only for biology, right? So if you're a parent tonight and you say that my child don't have any past papers, I can send them to you via email. So shoot me a message or just indicate in the comments, and I will get back to you with those past papers. They have it good. When we were at school, we had to go to the Ministry of Education and borrow the papers, go get them photocopy and bring them back. Now, everything is on the internet. So I want students to take advantage of the resources that they have available to them, right? So I want to say to you to ensure that you have your past papers, you have your textbooks, and you do study notes, all right? So this is a method I implement. I recommend that you, instead of just doing random papers, I recommend that you study by topic, all right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop for biology, especially HSB and CAPE biology and CAPE HSB. CAPE biology unit 1 and 2. I'm going to drop a checklist that you can use to ensure that you're studying the topics that are necessary, right? So what you have to do, you have to have your study list. What you can do is that you can open the past paper document. Then you can search for what particular topic that you're studying in a given time. So for example, you're studying circulation, right? So when you study circulation, I recommend that you go to your textbook, go to the chapter on circulation, take a good read, write down some point notes, right? Then you go to your past paper and attempt to do the questions, using the study notes that you would have created, right? Over time, doing questions over and over and over again, and you're going to see the repetition, it will become easier for you to remember the content, right? While doing the past paper, if you find a topic that you don't know, I recommend that you go and study it. Let me say that again. If you find a topic, for example, yesterday while teaching a class, they was not familiar with sickle cell anemia, right? So at that point, I went and I taught them about sickle cell anemia. So in that way, now they have study notes on sickle cell anemia. So anytime that a question comes on sickle cell anemia again, they will be able to grab a hold of the notes that they would have created, right? And if they do that for if you do that for each topic, right, going ahead from this stage, I guarantee you that you will know something, some content that is on that exam paper. But that method only takes intentionality, determination, and hard work. That method wouldn't work for you if you say, Miss Guy, I kind of lazy, I don't have no time for them things, so I don't really want to hear them things. But if you're willing to push at this stage, you will be successful, right? So I want to recommend, as I said, textbook, study notes, cue cards, another method that I used, I learned a lot by repetition. So what I will do is that I will get blank paper. I will get blank paper, right? And I will write out my study notes, note by note by note. So I'll have one booklet for each topic. So when times to revise, I have that to read over and over and over and over again. And then I can also attempt my questions, right? So at this stage, you will definitely need to have your blank sheets. You can use the lined sheets of paper, the foolscap paper, the file paper. You can use those, right? In terms of cue cards, you can use different sizes. So you can use a big size, right? You can use the smaller sizes according to what you're studying, right? And ensure you make it fun. That's the thing. Studying is fun. I think people think studying is boring. It's fun, right? So you have your cue cards. You have your normal pens. You also can add in their colored pens. So for example, anything that you learn new, you could put it in an orange color. Anything you have to remember, you put it in a red color. So you can color code your study notes. So okay, these are the absolute things I need to remember. This is something I need to review. Use your colored pens. All right. So parents, I recommend, sometimes they may come to you for money to, get a little cue cards and some pens. If you can afford it, I encourage you to help them to make studying fun. All right. So ensure that you are using your, as I said, textbook past papers, making your study notes and doing your past papers. That method will work, I'm telling you, right? When it comes to past papers, one of the main thing I want them to also focus on is the use of your past papers in studying for your multiple choice. Over the last couple of years, we would have noticed that multiple choice examination questions repeat, right? So ensure that you grab a hold of as much papers as possible, sit down and go through them, not really learning like, okay, this question, the answer is A, because they could rearrange how they lay out the question, but the answers are always present, right? So do your multiple choice questions, as much papers as possible, right? And in that way, I believe that you all will be successful. I could testify about going into at least 3 exams and seeing repeated questions for nearly the entire paper. When I did IT in school, the entire paper was a repeat. You hear me? The entire paper, like every question, we saw them before because we spent time drilling the paper. All right. So ensure that you spend time going through your multiple choice. And for CXC, the multiple choices were 30%. Right. So that means that if you can get a 30% on top of your lab grade or your third paper grade, you are almost to the passing mark already. And it's just to go and do well in your paper 2, and your passing grade is absolutely sure. So I want to encourage you to do your multiple choice. For those that are now coming in, we are speaking about study tips for the examinations that are upcoming. So we are doing an entire study series. All right. So I encourage you to tell your neighbor, tell your cousin and your friend that Scholars Immaculate Academy is doing this initiative to help students, to be successful in the upcoming exams. All right. So stay tuned to the platform, as well as I want you all to know that I just had a TikTok. So I'm about to do some short TikTok videos for the area of biology, HSB, and SEA prep for now, right? I'm going to be doing short tips, and I might splice in some maths, maybe, right? Not sure as yet, but I'm just going to be doing content. So ensure that you follow us on TikTok so that you can get that content. I'm also going to drop them on Facebook and also on Instagram, right? I want to speak to the fact that while you are studying, your body's under a lot of pressure. Parents that are listening this evening, I want to say to you, ensure that you have them drinking water, right? Have them drinking a lot of water. We're talking about body care when it comes to studying, right? Ensure that they are eating well, ensure that they are drinking a lot of water, ensure that they are also taking their multivitamins. Ensure that they're taking their multivitamins, right? It's quite important. Just as how during COVID, we were buying vitamins nearly every single week and we ensure that we're keeping our bodies up. It's the same thing. Parents ensure that the children are taking care of their bodies. Even the young ones that are doing SCA soon, ensure that they are having multivitamins. You know, it is quite essential that they keep their immune system up because at that stage, their brain is growing, their body is constantly, functioning in a way that is maybe above normal, the normal activity. So ensure that they are keeping their health intact as well. So we want the students to have the best possible chance, and how good it is that we study all the content, right? And then at the end of the day, the students get sick right before the exam. That doesn't make any sense, right? So we have to ensure that we are balancing care for the body as well as putting in the information, right? I want to also state, to those that are doing CSEC and CAPE, because at this stage, SCA, they're on the home stretch, right? So CSEC and CAPE, I want you to note your study methods, right? Different persons have different study methods, and you need to find what is your study method, right? So for me, I would have learned that my study method is repetition writing. So I write over stuff over and over and over again until it sticks to my memory. I repeat it aloud, hear myself saying it, I explain it to other persons, and that's how I remember, right? But for some other person, they can just see a picture and remember it because they have photographic memory, right? For sciences, I highly recommend the watching of videos. YouTube is filled with videos on every topic. So, for example, you're doing circulation and circulation questions, watch some circulation videos on YouTube. Use your technology wisely, right? So, parents, ensure that your children are watching videos. Even SCA prep, at this stage, you can have them watching videos on similes, metaphors, personifications, sensory, writing, imagery. You can have them watching videos on that. What is the mood of a poem versus the tone of a poem? So these are some good little videos you can have them watching to keep their mind fresh on the content, right? But ensure that you're using technology wisely and you also know what is your study method. So if you don't know your study method, you can there are actually online tests and assessments that you can do to figure it out. But the other method, try everything and realize what working, right? So ensure that you know your study method and use it. For those that are doing CSEC and CAPE, you need to have a study timetable, all right? So if you don't have a study timetable, you're already setting yourself up. Because for those that are doing 6 subjects, 7 subjects, I know students that are doing 8 and 9 subjects, you need a study timetable. You have to balance how you're studying and also including rest in that schedule. So I want to recommend to parents and students to ensure that you have a study timetable. If that is something that you want me to walk you through, right? You can also indicate in the comments, and that can be one of our next podcast videos, right? How to create a study timetable and maintain it, right? So that could be another video, but ensure you have a study timetable that you are working with, right? It's going to help you to maintain all the way through till your exam. I can also do a format of a timetable and I can drop it on the page, just download it and fill it out. All right. So ensure you have a study timetable. Parents, if your child have a study timetable, be a part of the process. That's the next thing I want to touch on. Parents, Not because your children are teenagers, it means that you need to get out of their business. This is the time where they need you to hold them accountable, right? I'm seeing students every day coming to school and they are not studying. And I'm saying, where are the parents in the middle of all of this? Because my child cannot tell me they don't have homework or they don't have anything to do. They always have homework, there's always revision to be done. Parents, I want you all to understand that you are part of this process. Do not leave the children up, even when they are teenagers doing CSEC or CAPE examinations. Ensure that you see them studying, right? Work with the teachers, because sometimes we blame teachers and say them is the reason why my child not doing excellent. But are you doing your part as well to ensure that they are studying whatsoever the teacher would have delivered to them in terms of content and material? So it's a partnership, and we all have to work together in this partnership. So I want to encourage parents to ensure that you ensure. And I want to say, sometimes as a parent, you might not know what a child is doing in terms of the material. You might not know any chemistry, but your child is doing chemistry. It doesn't matter. Just ensure you see them studying chemistry. Understand what I'm saying? Because my parents did not know everything I was studying, but they ensure that I knew. They asked me if I understood. There are times I did not understand. What did they do for me? My parents found help. They found cousins, they found teachers, they found classes, they found whatever I needed to ensure that I succeeded in that exam, even when they couldn't help me. So I want parents to understand that they have a very important role to play when it comes to their children's education. I hear students at this stage already proclaiming that they're going to fail the exam. And they're already saying that they're going to do it over in January. At this stage, parents, you don't give them the opportunity to declare failure before they even try. You know, tell them you're going to do well. You're going to put your best foot forward right now and try your best to get it. You know, a student said to me recently, my parents have money and I'm the only child. So what they have is mine. So that's why this child is not pushing herself at school, because she already have the mindset of what her parents have is hers. Right? Parents, we don't want to grow children with that mindset. It doesn't matter if they already have a good start at life, they could do better, they can go further. All right, to ensure that we are working together, teachers, parents, students, you know, it's a three-way partnership to ensuring that they are successful. So I'm just here today to give this, you know, these first initial tips. Over time, more tips will be given. For the persons who are asking, where did I get the whiteboard? These are not really expensive. You know, I thought it was really expensive at first when I thought about getting one, but the whiteboards are not expensive. So some students, like myself, tend to learn best when I see something drawn on a bigger surface, right? So if you are interested in having a whiteboard, it is like, I think I paid $200 and something for this one, and is a good size, right? So parents, if you want to invest in a whiteboard for your child to have the access of drawing large diagrams, especially for science or, you know, maths and stuff like that, you can invest in a whiteboard for them at the bookstore. If you are in Tobago, then you can go to TLH Mall in Scarborough upstairs, and you will get it for a very reasonable price at, I think it's Book and Office Supplies. I got this one. So you can go there, and they have as well very nice you know, study equipment, you know, in terms of study material, in terms of your sticky notes, your cue cards. They have a lot of different things, different colors and stuff that will help the students as well. So this is basically our first episode of Tips with Miss Guy, pertaining to study tips. And we're going to be doing this throughout the entire exam study season. I was saying to a friend this week, you know, long ago when I was in university and we see the pui tree, we know that exam is around the corner. Now we notice that the pui tree is bearing a little earlier than before, right? So I was saying to her, it's an indication to the students now though that they need to start to study, because exams around the corner. All right, so I want you all to join us here at Scholars Immaculate Academy for this whole series of study tips. Ensure you're following the pages so that when a video is dropped for bio, for HSB, for SEA, that you're able to connect with it. If you see it drop, I want to ask you to share it with a student that you might know that is currently doing any of these examinations. We are doing it, just to ensure that we add to this whole educational move. We believe in it here at Scholars Immaculate Academy, and we want that students, perform well. I know that the pandemic was a hard season for some, and some of the students have not really, regained their balance as yet. So we are trying to do as much as we can. All right. If we are led to do so, we might definitely do some past paper sessions. So stay tuned to what is happening here, and I know that your child will excel. All right. So again, thank you all for staying all the way through to another episode of Tips with Miss Guy, and I'm really happy to do this. I'm excited. Whole day I was counting on the time to come on this live. I'm really excited to see students progress and excel. All right. So we look forward to having you. So we do this every second and fourth Tuesday of each month. All right. So you can actually put it into your calendar. So it's going to be the second and the fourth Tuesday in March. We're going to be back again doing this. All right. But between time, we'll definitely be dropping tips and tricks on our pages. So stay connected and you're going to see them. All right. So this is the end of this episode, and I thank you all for staying all the way through. For the persons that are on YouTube, thank you all for coming. For those that are on Facebook, thank you all for viewing, and definitely stay connected. So on behalf of myself and the entire team, I want to say thank you all again, and I pray that God will definitely bless you throughout this exam season. We are going for CXC and CAPE students, we are going for grade ones. All right, we're going for ones. That's what we're going for. All right, and for the SAA students, we're going for your best. All right, so ensure that you do your best, and we are definitely here to support. So again, God bless all of you, and thank you all for staying throughout for another episode of Tips with Miss Guy. Who knows, we might have a guest coming in with us in the next episode. So stay connected. God bless you all. Have a great night, and have a great study season. All right. So God bless you all.